Hi, I'm Ryan F. Gassian, and in this video I'm going to be talking about Doug Ford and his plans for the environment. Very recently, the PCs in Ontario had their election to determine who was going to be their next leader, and the man who ran was called Doug Ford. You might know his brother better, Rob Ford, the former Torontonian mayor who made a name for himself by being caught taking crack cocaine. Now, Doug Ford is probably a more refined, more charismatic version of his brother. In a lot of ways, he's like Donald Trump. He can be a vulgarian at times, he can be a bully. And his platform is based on right-wing populism, very much in the theme of making Ontario great again. He's not going to make Ontario great. No more than Donald Trump made America great. In fact, he very much worries me, which is why I'm going to be supporting the NDP. Now, in the next few videos, I'm going to be doing about Doug Ford, because I need people to understand just how dangerous this man could be if he were to become the next Premier of Ontario. The Premiership is an important position. They do a lot of stuff. The education system in Ontario, that's them. When it comes to the healthcare system, they're the one who runs it. When it comes to your hydro bill, they're the ones who deal with that as well. So it's very important that when we elect someone who is competent and has an understanding of the issues and who isn't corrupt or in there for their own interests. Now, in this video, I'm not going to say whether Doug Ford is corrupt or not. I'm going to leave that to you. What I want to say is he's not good for Ontario, specifically when it comes to the environment. Now, let's be frank. Global warming is real. It's happening right now. The last few years have been the warmest on record. We've seen the Arctic ice sheet melt and retract like never before. They say that it's very likely at this point that the temperature of the Earth will rise by 2 degrees. If that happens, things are going to get a lot worse. They're already bad. Cape Town in South Africa is out of water. Literally out of water. A major city is out of water. They have none. And they're just the first. Now, part of it's because of their own internal policies, but part of it is the fact that the temperature is getting hotter. Because there's more precipitation in the atmosphere, that means we're going to have worse hurricanes. They're going to be stronger. The more heat that's in the hurricane, the more energy it has. That's how it works. Energy from the sun is transferred to the oceans, which is then lifted into the air by precipitation. That energy has to go somewhere. Where does it go? It goes into the hurricanes. That's what gives them their power. We're also going to have more blizzards. I know that sounds strange. If the Earth is getting hotter, shouldn't we have fewer blizzards? No. Again, it all goes back to that precipitation. More water in the atmosphere, more energy, means you're going to have more blizzards. Because while water is just precipitation in warmer climates, once it makes contact with cold air, it becomes snow. And if there's more water in the atmosphere, that means there's more snow to fall down. It means we get stronger blizzards. This is going to hurt us. It's already hurt us. But Doug Ford doesn't care. He says that he's against the Paris Agreement. He thought that was a bad idea. He's also against cap and trade. He's told this lie saying that Ontario is giving California $469 million. Now, he claims this is because of cap and trade, which is ridiculous. Now, it is true that Ontario has gone into a cap and trade deal with Quebec and California. Now, what is cap and trade? Well, it's simple. We put a cap on how many pollutants can go into the atmosphere. Now, corporations that go under that cap, who produce less emissions, are rewarded. They're given a credit. And those corporations that do emit more emissions have to pay by credit from those that don't. This rewards people who produce less emissions while discouraging those who produce more emissions. And again, that money goes to those who are producing less emissions. The money does not go to Ontario. It does not go to California. And again, that also happens in the reverse. Sometimes there's California corporations that are producing more than they should. They have to buy credits from Ontario companies That means they're giving the Ontario companies money because those Ontario companies are meeting their quotas and producing less emissions. And again, the whole purpose of this is to reduce the amount of pollutions, because the more pollutions there are in the atmosphere, the greater the greenhouse effect is. That means there's more precipitation. That means we get more droughts, we get more hurricanes, and we get more blizzards. But of course, Doug Ford doesn't care about any of that. And we're going to see a lot of this attitude with Doug Ford if he were to become premier. Again, imagine having our own version of Donald Trump. That's really what it is. His idea is Ontario first. Well, that's stupid in a global economy, okay? Canada doesn't thrive by deceiving and cheating everyone else. We all have an incentive to work together to solve this problem because it's a global problem. This problem is happening everywhere, and everyone on this planet is contributing to the problem. So the only way to solve it is to work as a group. But again, people like Doug Ford, they don't believe in that. They're always in for themselves. They see the world in a zero-sum game, but that's not how it works. But by getting rid of cap and trade, we're giving corporations less incentive to reduce their emissions. So that means we might have to take even more extreme policies in the future to prevent the disaster that's coming. And it's going to be a disaster. It's already a disaster. Look at Houston. It was pummeled. Look at Puerto Rico. It's a disaster zone. Half of the island still doesn't have any electricity. California is going through the worst drought in decades. It's having fires in December. Forest fires, major forest fires are happening in December. This is only going to get worse. And Doug Ford's idea is just to put his fingers in his ears, to close his eyes, and pretend that he's not seeing any evil. So again, for the next few videos, I'm going to be talking about Doug Ford and why we need to vote someone else. And then I'm going to talk about my alternative and who I think should be Ontario's next premier. Because the Liberals, they're not doing a good job. They've become too corrupt, too used to being in power. But the alternative is not Doug Ford and his Conservative Party. Thank you for listening, and please help my channel by liking this video and subscribing. Oh, and visit my website at www.darknessinamerica.com to read my short stories about a future United States where people live in fear of inquisitors, telepathic assassins who police the populace for thought crimes.